begging you. You can't do this. There must be another way. Boo.
The sun scorched the cracked earth like a branding iron. Eliza's boots kicked up dust devils as she staggered toward the ranch house, her throat raw from thirst. "Please," she gasped, pounding on the weathered door. "I need work. Anything. I'll scrub floors, mend fences." The door swung open. Jacob Harlan stood there, tall as a cottonwood, his eyes steel under the brim of his hat. "You look half dead, woman. What makes you think I'd hire a stranger off the trail?" She clutched her tattered shawl, knees buckling. "My family's gone. Raiders took everything. I'll die out here without a chance." He crossed his arms, unmoved. "One chance. Marry me by sunset, or ride on, forever." Her heart slammed against her ribs. Marry this man? This stranger with a ranch sprawling like an empire? The clock was ticking, the sun dipping low. What choice did she have? Eliza's mind raced back to the nightmare that drove her here. 2 weeks ago, in the shadow of the Sierra Madre, her wagon train had been ambushed. Gunfire cracked the night, her husband's cry cut short by a bullet. She could still smell the smoke, feel the blood on her hands as she buried him in shallow gravel. Alone, penniless, she walked the desert, dodging coyotes and mirages, until Harlan's ranch loomed like salvation or a trap. Now, inside the cool adobe walls, Jacob poured her a tin cup of water. She gulped it down, spilling half on her chin. "Why me?" she whispered, voice trembling. "You don't even know my name." "Eliza Thorne," he said flatly, as if he'd read her soul. Word travels fast in these parts. Widow from the east, running from ghosts. I need a wife. You need a roof. Simple as that. But it wasn't simple. His voice carried a shadow, something buried deep. She glanced around the room. Polished rifles on the wall. A faded photograph of a woman with sad eyes. His late wife? Rumors whispered in saloons. Jacob Harlan, richest rancher in Arizona Territory, heart turned to stone after losing her to fever. Men said he ruled his land with an iron fist, driving off rivals, hoarding water rights like gold. "Sit," he commanded, pointing to a chair by the hearth. The fire crackled, casting long shadows. "Eat something, then decide." She tore into cornbread he offered, hunger gnawing at her insides. But as she chewed, doubt crept in. Was this mercy or madness? The ultimatum hung like a noose. Sunset was hours away, the sky outside turning orange. What if she said yes? Tied to a man she didn't know, in a land that could swallow her whole. But what if she said no? The desert waited merciless, with its blistering days and freezing nights. She'd seen buzzards circling the bones of fools who thought they could survive alone. Jacob watched her, his gaze intense. "I've built this place from nothing. Fought Apaches, outlaws, droughts. But a man's legacy needs more than cattle and land." She met his eyes, searching for cruelty or kindness. Found neither, just raw need. "And if I refuse?" "Then you're gone. No second chances." The clock on the mantel ticked louder, each second a hammer blow. She stood, legs shaky, and walked to the window. Outside, cowboys herded steers, dust clouds rising like smoke signals. One rider caught her eye, tall, scarred face, riding close to the house. Who was he? Jacob's foreman? Or something more sinister? She turned back. "Tell me about her. The woman in the photo." His jaw tightened. "Not your business." "Not yet." But that was only the beginning. As the afternoon wore on, Jacob led her through the ranch. The air hummed with life. Horses nickering the corral. The distant lowing of cattle. He showed her the barns, stacked with hay that smelled sweet and earthy. "This could be yours," he said, voice low. "All of it." Eliza's fingers trailed over a saddle, worn from years of hard rides. Touching it stirred memories of her own life back east, before the frontier called. She'd been a seamstress in St. Louis, married young to a dreamer who promised gold in California. Now, that dream lay buried in the sand. "Why the rush?" she pressed as they walked the fence line. The desert stretched endless, Saguaros standing like silent guards. Sunset? It's barely noon. He stopped, boots grinding gravel. Because tomorrow everything changes. Riders coming. Claim jumpers, backed by the railroad. They want my water. Marry me and you're protected. Alone? You're prey. Her pulse quickened. Claim jumpers? She'd heard tales of them. Ruthless men who burned homesteads, poisoned wells. Was that why he needed a wife? Legal cover. An heir to secure his claim? But as they reached the edge of property, a shadow fell. That scarred rider from earlier approached. Hat pulled low. "Boss!" he growled, ignoring Eliza. Scouts spotted him. 10 men, armed heavy. They'll hit at dawn. Jacob nodded, face hardening. Double the watch. And keep an eye on her. The rider, his name was Rafe. She learned, shot her a glare that chilled her blood. Her? She's trouble. Strays always are. Jacob's hand clamped on her arm, possessive. She's mine to decide. Back at the house, tension coiled like a spring. Eliza paced the kitchen, mind whirling. Marry by sunset or leave. But leave to what? The desert's jaws, or those claim jumpers' bullets. She confronted him by the well. Water splashing cold as she drew a bucket. Who's Rafe? He looks at me like I'm the enemy. Jacob hesitated, then sighed. My brother, half-brother, thinks the ranch should be his. Our father left it to me. Betrayal simmered in those words. Family divided by greed, the frontier's oldest curse. Eliza felt a pang. Her own brother had abandoned her after their parents died, leaving her to fend alone. As the sun climbed higher, beating down like judgment, she helped in the stables to clear her head, brushing a mare's coat. The rhythmic strokes soothed her frayed nerves. But then a whisper from the shadows. Rafe, lurking. He ain't telling you everything, girl. That ultimatum? It's 'cause he's dying. Her brush froze. What? Consumption. Doc gave him months. Needs a wife to inherit clean. Cut me out. Lies? Or truth? Her heart twisted. If true, marriage meant widowhood soon, but security now. If false, Rafe was scheming. She fled back to Jacob, confronting him in the parlor. Is it true? Are you ill? His face paled. Who told you? Rafe. A curse escaped him. Damn him. It's not consumption. It's something else. But he wouldn't say more. The clock struck 3. Sunset neared, shadows lengthening. Eliza's choices narrowed to a razor's edge. What happened next changed everything. Storm clouds gathered on the horizon, unusual for the dry season. Thunder rumbled like distant cannon fire. Jacob gathered his men in the yard, barking orders. Fortify the gates. Load the rifles. Those claim jumpers won't wait for dawn. Eliza watched from the porch, wind whipping her skirts. Fear clawed her gut. If she stayed, she'd be in the crossfire. If she left, the storm would drown her in flash floods. Jacob approached, rifle slung over his shoulder. Decide soon, Eliza. Marry me and fight with us. Or go now, before hell breaks loose. She swallowed hard. Tell me the truth about your illness. He leaned close, breath warm on her ear. Poison. Slow acting. Rafe's doing, I suspect. Been weakening me for months. Betrayal hit like a gut punch. Brother against brother, for land and legacy. Eliza's own past echoed. Her husband betrayed by a friend in the wagon train, leading to the ambush. I'll stay, she whispered. But not as your wife. Not yet. His eyes flashed. Then what? A hired hand in a war zone. Give me time, until the fight's over. He nodded grimly. Fair, but sunset's a deadline. As rain began to spit, the men hunkered down. Eliza helped load ammunition. Her hand steadied despite the terror. Lightning cracked, illuminating the approaching riders, dark silhouettes against the flashing sky. Gunfire erupted before they reached the fence. Bullets whined past, splintering wood. Jacob shoved her behind a water trough. Stay down. She peeked over, heart pounding. Rafe was there, firing back. But was his aim true, or was he signaling the enemy? A cowboy fell, clutching his chest. Blood mixed with mud. Eliza crawled to him, pressing her shawl to the wound. "Hold on," she urged, voice breaking. Jacob roared orders, his shots precise. But the claim jumpers pressed on, torches flaring in the downpour. One hurled a flaming bottle toward the barn. Hay ignited, flames leaping high. "Fire!" someone yelled. Chaos reigned. Eliza grabbed a bucket, dashing to the well. Rain helped, but not enough. Smoke choked the air, horses screaming in panic. In the melee, she saw Rafe slip away, toward the back gate. Suspicion flared. Was he opening it for the attackers? She followed, slipping through shadows. Rain plastered her hair, mud sucking at her boots. There, Rafe, unlatching the gate. 2 claim jumpers waited outside. "Traitor." She lunged, grabbing a loose board. "Stop." Rafe whirled, knife glinting. "You should have left, widow." He advanced, blade raised. Thunder boomed, masking her scream. But he didn't know what she was capable of. Eliza swung the board with all her might, cracking across Rafe's wrist. The knife flew into the mud. He snarled, grabbing her throat. "You'll ruin everything." She clawed at his face, nails drawing blood. Jacob knows about the poison. Lies, but it bought time. Rafe hesitated, eyes widening. In that moment, she kneed him hard, breaking free. She scrambled for the knife, fingers closing around the hilt. But Rafe recovered, tackling her into the muck. They rolled, rain pounding, lightning flashing. His hands squeezed her neck, vision blurring. A shot rang out. Rafe jerked, blood blooming on his shirt. He slumped dead weight. Jacob stood there, smoking gun in hand. "Eliza," she gasped for air, coughing. "He betrayed you." Jacob helped her up, arms strong despite his weakness. The claim jumpers, seeing their inside man fall, retreated into the storm. Gunfire faded, leaving only the roar of rain. Back at the house, drenched and shivering, Jacob bandaged her bruises. "You saved us." "Why?" "Because I couldn't walk away," she admitted, tears mixing with rain. "Not from this. Not from you." The clock struck 6. Sunset hidden by clouds, but time was up. He took her hand. "Marry me, not for the ranch. For us." Emotion swelled, fear turning to fragile hope. The frontier had taken so much, but given this, a chance at love amid the ruins. She nodded, yes. But that was only the beginning of their trials. In the days that followed, peace settled uneasily. The claim jumpers scattered, but whispers of more trouble brewed. Jacob's strength waned from the poison, his skin paling, coughs racking his frame. Eliza nursed him with desert herbs and willpower, drawing water from the well that now seemed blessed by the storm. They married quietly under a mesquite tree, the preacher riding in from town. No frills, just vows exchanged as the sun dipped, painting the sky in fire. Till death, they promised, but death loomed close. Rafe's body was buried on a hill, a stark reminder, his betrayal cut deep. Jacob mourned the brother he'd lost long before the bullet. "Blood don't mean loyalty," he murmured one night, as they sat by the fire. Eliza shared her own scars. The wagon train massacre not random, but orchestrated by a rival guide jealous of her husband's map to a hidden spring. Survival had forged her, tough as rawhide. Together, they rebuilt. She learned to rope calves, mend barbed wire under blistering sun. He taught her the land's secrets, where flash floods carved canyons, how to spot rattlers in the brush. Their bond deepened, touches lingering, words soft in the quiet nights. But tension simmered. Scouts reported railroad men regrouping, buying off sheriffs. "They'll come again," Jacob warned, loading his Winchester. Eliza felt the weight. Was this life? Endless vigilance. The desert's harsh embrace? One dawn, as coffee brewed, a rider approached, dusty, urgent. Message from town. "Your claims contested. Court date in 2 weeks." Jacob slammed his fist. Damn them. Without proof of heir, they'll seize it all. Heir. The word hung heavy. Their marriage was new. No child yet. Eliza's hand drifted to her belly, wondering. But as days ticked by, sickness struck the herd. Cattle dropped, foaming at the mouth. Poison feed? Sabotage. Jacob rode out to investigate, leaving Eliza with the hands. Hours stretched, worry gnawed. Sunset came, no sign. She saddled up, riding into the twilight. The desert whispered dangers, coyotes howling, wind sculpting dunes. There, by a dry arroyo, his horse grazed alone. Panic surged. Jacob! She found him slumped against a rock, face ashen, breathing shallow. Ambush, he gasped. Railroad thugs. Blood soaked his shirt. She tore her petticoat for bandages, heart fracturing. Hold on, I'll get you home. Dragging him onto the horse, she led them back, mile by agonizing mile. Stars wheeled overhead, cold and indifferent. At the ranch, she summoned the doc. Arsenic flare-up, he diagnosed. And a bullet graze. He's tough, but... Jacob clung to life. Fever dreams revealing buried pain. Lost her, my fault. Fever took Mary. Eliza held his hand, whispering strength. I'm here now. Fight for us. What happened next changed everything. As Jacob mended, slowly, defiantly, Eliza took charge. She rallied the cowboys, fortified the ranch like a fortress. We hold the line, she declared, voice steel. Word spread. The widow who'd begged for work now commanded respect. But inside, doubt festered. Could she say what they'd built? The court date loomed. They rode to town, dust trailing like a banner. The courtroom sweltered, packed with spectators. Railroad lawyers smirked, papers in hand. No legitimate heir. Land reverts. Jacob stood, weak but unbowed. My wife. Convenience marriage. They sneered. No proof of consummation, no child. Humiliation burned. Eliza's cheeks flamed. But then, a twist, the preacher testified. Vows solid. And Eliza, hand on Bible, revealed Rafe's confession before death. Poison, betrayal, railroad ties. Murmurs rippled. The judge pounded his gavel. Case dismissed. Harlan keeps his land. Victory tasted sweet but fleeting. Outside, a gunman waited in the alley. Shot fired. Jacob shoved Eliza aside, taking the bullet in his shoulder. Chaos. Townsfolk scattered. Cowboys drew. The assassin fled, but not before Eliza glimpsed his brand. Railroad insignia. Back home, wounds bandaged, they faced the truth. They won't stop, Jacob said, voice hoarse. Eliza nodded. Then we fight smarter. She proposed a daring plan. Ally with neighboring ranchers, pool water rights, form a cooperative. Risky. Old feuds ran deep, but survival demanded it. Riding out, she negotiated under parley flags. United we stand. Divided they pick us off. One by one they agreed. The alliance grew, a bulwark against greed. But betrayal lurked. One rancher, bought off, leaked their plans. Ambush at the pass. Gunfire echoing off red rocks. Eliza rode into the fray, pistol blazing. For the land, she cried. Jacob, beside her, fought like a lion. Bullets whizzed, men fell. In the dust, she faced a traitor. Why? Gold, he spat. She disarmed him, mercy in her eyes. Gold can't buy loyalty. The battle turned. Railroad forces routed. But Jacob collapsed mid-fight, poison's final grip. She dragged him to safety, tears streaming. Don't leave me. His eyes fluttered. You're the heart of this place now. Doctors came, antidotes tried. Days blurred in vigil. Miracle, he rallied. Weak but alive. The frontier's grit won out. Months passed. The ranch thrived, a lion strong. Eliza felt life stir within. Their child, heir to it all. One sunset. They stood on the porch, arms entwined. The desert bloomed after rain. Wildflowers defined the odds. You begged for a job, Jacob murmured. Gave me a life. She smiled, heartful, and you gave me home. In the end, the ultimatum wasn't chain, but a key, unlocking love from loss, strength from sorrow. On the American frontier, where betrayal stalks and survival demands everything, they found something unbreakable, each other, and in the quiet vastness, their legacy whispered. Sometimes the hardest choices forge the deepest bonds.